All right, you guys, and welcome back to the video. I am midway through installing the steering stabilizer. So let's go ahead, let me walk you through a little bit of the process, and yeah, let's get into it. All right, so like I said, I'm installing the steering stabilizer, and it's not very hard to do, but there are a couple things to note. And the biggest part, or the biggest thing to note in this process, is your brackets and your positioning of the brackets. I had some lights down here, so I had to move the lights, and so I got to tweak it a little bit so that everything goes nice and smooth. I'm actually on my way to work, and I'm just doing a quick install. I have to touch it up a little bit later on, but what I wanted to note is you have two different type of brackets. You have one with a longer piece at the end, that's your front bracket, and then you have just a regular bracket for the rear. The second thing I want to note is that you have two different size bolts that go in through. So your brackets that hold on to that are going to support that steering stabilizer, they're going to be a smaller bracket. A smaller screw. You're going to get these much bigger screws that go into the actual steering stabilizer. Something else I wanted to note is when you get your steering stabilizer, it comes into two pieces. This piece right here is not on the stabilizer, so yes, you have to tighten it on, and this bracket needs to be about 3 inches from the edge. So from here to here, where your hole is, that's about 3 inches. So you need to make sure you mark that and align it. Coming back to the brackets, once you're ready to put the brackets on, as you can see, I got a little marking right here, and I also have one over here. This marking is about 1 inch away from this bracket. It's about 1 inch away from this bracket, and this bracket should be about 5 inches. I have a mark here, so I need to go ahead and make an adjustment, but it's about 5 inches away, 5.5 inches away from this bracket here. So from the bottom of this bracket with the tie rod down here at the bottom, about 5.5 inches up is where this one needs to be. So I need to make a small adjustment to this. That is a big deal. So once you get through that, the rest of the install should be pretty simple. All right, you guys, my bad. So I had to get to work, but I want to get back to the install of this dampener. So as you see, I do have it in, and it looks great, and it actually works pretty well as also. Now you see your gas chamber here, how it sits up. You want to make sure your gas chamber is sitting up, and so you want to make sure your your clamp here is to the side. Of course, going by your torque specs and all of that, make sure you have Loctite on your brackets, making sure that those don't come loose. You don't want this coming loose while driving. Even though this coming off won't affect how the machine runs, you definitely don't want to lose your money on what you spent, and you definitely don't want this just dropping out on you. But besides that, the install was very simple. Like I said, you had the smaller screws that went for the clamps, and then you had the bigger screws that went for the actual stabilizing bar. But besides that, once you tighten everything down, get everything to your torque spec, it's actually very simple. The hardest part, again, is measuring out where your clamps need to be. But once you get that, it's all good. And then you also want to make sure, coming around, that this bar is not hitting your plastic. So if this bar is hitting your plastic, that means your measurements were off too much, and you need to make an adjustment. But as long as you can turn your handlebars, and I'm all the way, you see how I'm not touching anything there, and I'm not touching anything when I'm turning here. Then you should be pretty good, and your measurements are safe enough where you should feel that you did it correctly. Anyway, if you guys want a more in-depth install on this product, just let me know in the comment section below. There's a bunch of videos out there already. So I didn't do a step-by-step, but really the key elements to this install is your bracket placement. Once you have your bracket placement, everything else is just tighten down the bolts. So anyway, guys, hope you like this video. I got more to come on this. I have a review on this. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Ryker fam, tap in and let's go.